Okay, so yesterday I watched Wicked for Good, Teenage Kraken. And I will go ahead and say number one, throughout this video, I will probably be referring to the movie as like Wicked, as Wicked 2, as Wickeder, which is what I've been like facetiously calling it for the past few weeks. Like, dude, I can't wait to go watch Wickeder. Like, I just like keep a list of things that like, here's things I need to do today, or like, here's things to try to do over the course of the week, or here's some things that I'm not going to get to this week but are important, so I need to make note of them because I love lists. And yeah, anytime this was on there, I just wrote it as Wickeder. So just gonna go ahead and say that first off. The next thing I have to say first off is just straight up dead ass, I did not enjoy this movie. I liked part one a lot. I had a really good time with it. I remember saying, I believe I said this in my video on it, because I also think I did a video on it, but maybe I didn't, is when I was watching it, it was specifically the dancing through life scene. I was thinking to myself, this is why I love musicals. I love the energy. I love seeing all the choreography. I love like hearing a good, fun song, great vocals, all of this. And this movie like has all of that in spades. Plus, it's flavored to the Wizard of Oz, which is something I really like. It's something I'm really familiar with and that I enjoy. This is cool. I like this. I have never seen the musical. I have never sat down and just listened to the OST. I've heard some of the songs, and with the exception of For Good, which is a song that I know and love, every other song that I'd heard before was from part one. So, aside from, I guess I kind of have to go into spoilers a bit as well, but it's like, for the most part, it's, aside from things that I know happen because they happened in The Wizard of Oz, I didn't know a lot of what to expect in part two. With the exception of, I guess to keep it vague for now, what happens to Fiyero, because that was something I knew going into part one, because it was just something I had learned like years ago when looking into like what happens in Wicked. I was like, oh, like that's kind of interesting. So aside from that, went in blind and didn't really enjoy it. I think it looks great. I love how colorful it is. Like, you know, like seeing the Emerald City is always going to put a smile on my face. Seeing the yellow brick road, like actually seeing it being paved in the opening, I'm like, I don't know, that just kind of hits me. Like, I like that, because I had mentioned in my Thursday video last week, I rewatched The Wizard of Oz earlier this week. Also did it while listening to Dark Side of the Moon. It was really fun and really cool. And a few nights ago, I finally watched Return to Oz and loved it. That movie kicks ass. So I have very much been in a Wizard of Oz mood, and part of that is I'm really looking forward to Wicked. So my biggest problem with the movie is something I don't know if I can really fault the movie for. Because this is an adaptation of a musical, which is in of itself an adaptation of a book, which is in of itself a prequel slash happening at the same time as cool. I don't actually know what the term for that is. Because I know I think it's like a mid-cool or an intercool, which is like this is happening during this. But like, for example, like Bambi 2, it's a sequel, but it takes place during the time skip in the first Bambi. So but it's not like this is the story of the hunter happening at the same time as Bambi, you know? So I guess it's just like it's a prequel that becomes also a retelling from another perspective. So I guess like a perspective shift, cool, of a really old book that was adapted into a film, which is probably, like, I guess that book specifically was adapted into a film, which is probably the most well-known, well-beloved film of all time. I would say The Wizard of Oz, I think, is probably, I would call it a fairy tale. I think it's probably the most famous fairy tale. Like, if you were to ask someone to name all the dwarves from Snow White, I think there's a good amount of people that could get all 7. I would say the average person probably gets like 4 to 5. they're always going to forget Bashful. Bashful's the hardest one because most of the others is like, oh, okay, he's really angry. He's grumpy. Oh, he's really happy. He's happy. He sneezes like he's sneezy. There's no shy-y or embarrassed-y. It's Bashful. But you ask someone to name Dorothy's companions, they're probably going to get that pretty easy. It's like, yeah, there's a Scarecrow and he got no brains, Tin Man got no heart, and there's a Lion who doesn't have courage. Or the Noive, as they say it in the 39 film. Oh my gosh, I freaking love that movie. But anyways, my point is, there are a lot of different versions and like even of Wicked, there's 3 different versions telling another story that was already told before and is super well known. So there are moments watching Wickeder where I'm thinking to myself, that doesn't quite line up with the timeline in The Wizard of Oz. Distractingly so. And I'll name a few examples, but what I'm saying is, for me, as someone who knows that story, like knows that film and loves that film and just recently watched it, it's very fresh in my mind. So these divergent points, I guess, it's not even like a super big divergence. It's just kind of a, wait, but shouldn't you have been here when this happened, but you weren't? So, it distracts me and it takes me out of it. But I don't know if that's the movie's fault, because I've never read Wicked the book, and it might be, no, this is how it goes in the book. The movie's not at fault. Wicked the book is for not matching the timeline. But at the same time, Wicked the book might be matching the timeline in the original novel, so it's not at fault at all. It's just, yeah, the movie's a little different and a little weird. But because that movie is so famous, it's not Wicked's fault for not following the adaptation and sticking to the original, but you're also not following the most famous, arguably the most famous story ever told, except maybe like the death and resurrection of Christ. So it might not be your fault that I'm getting distracted, but you can't blame me for it either. And boy, there's a lot of these distracting moments. Like, for example, without, again, trying to keep spoilers light and kind of vague, when the Tin Man enters the film, in the 1939 film, he talks about, he's like, oh yeah, like, like I was like here one day and I was chopping and it started to rain and I rusted, and I don't know if he says how long it's been, but I think he's like, I've been here a long time. In the film, by the time he joins Dorothy, like, the timing in this movie is like really vague, where it seems like everything is happening within the course of like a few days. My understanding is there's been a lengthy but unspecified time skipping between parts 1 and part 2, but it feels like everything that happens in Wicked 2 is like within a week of itself, maybe even less. There's, like, for example, another example is like in the 39 film, when Dorothy gets the ruby slippers, the witch is there. Like, both witches are there. Like, she's talking to Glinda, then the Wicked Witch shows up and it's all hammy and everything, which we never also really get to see. And like, I'll talk about that in a bit, because there's parts where I mind it and parts where I don't. But she, I'm familiar with her being there and wanting to get the slippers because they're all so powerful and all of that. And as she goes for them, her sister's feet like curl up and the slippers teleport onto Dorothy. That doesn't happen here. Instead, when her sister dies, and I don't think that's a spoiler, because, yeah, I mean, like, a house got to drop on her. That one, like, you can give me that. But when a house gets dropped on her, Elphaba shows up after Dorothy is left, which means also after Dorothy has the slippers. And then she's talking to Glinda afterwards. It's like, well, those were, like, the only thing I had left of my sister, and you just gave them to someone. Those weren't yours to give. Completely fair. But then I'm also thinking to myself, yeah, so wait, what happened then? did Dorothy just, like, take the slippers off and put them on? Did Glinda, like, scuttle over there and do that? Because it's been established in part 1 and in part 2, Glinda doesn't have magic. She has her, like, smoke and mirrors and, like, a little bubble machine. And, yeah, like, her playing with the bubble machine is, like, really fun. But she doesn't have magic. So, how did the slippers get on Dorothy's feet? And there's a bit later where Elphaba is talking to Dorothy, and she's like, I don't care, just take those slippers off. And Dorothy's like, I can't, because you never see Dorothy's face. And she's not really in the movie much. From what I understand, this is her having an expanded role. So I'm assuming in the musical, and probably in the book as well, you just never see her. It's just kind of mentioned. But, like, you'll actually see her, like, skipping a few times. Like, it's kind of cute. But, she's like, you kind of hear her say, like, I can't take them off. So I'm like, wait, so there's still that thing of, like, you can't remove them, like, unless you die or something. But, well, how did that happen? Because, yeah, there's a scene in the film where Elphaba enchants the slippers for Nessa, and what I really liked is when she's casting that spell, they do turn from silver to ruby, and, like, okay, I appreciated that. I appreciated being able to put the ruby slippers in there, but still not have to, like, do the copyright shit. Like, that's neat. I liked that. I'm like, but all they really do is just, like, make Nessa happy and, like, let her fly for a little bit. Nothing in that seemed to imply that, oh yeah, when she dies, they'll just be stuck to the next person. And even when Elphaba's like, hey, like, why did you give them to her? Glinda doesn't go, I didn't do it, it just happened. She's like, I mean, the poor girl needed some help. Like, so you did, like, so you just took them off, or you magicked them on, but then, like, used magic super glue? Like, I don't know. Like, this doesn't make sense. This does not compute with the way the story goes. And that's a problem, because that shit keeps happening. Because right after that, you see Dorothy is skipping down the yellow brick road. I'm like, okay, cool. So she's going to go meet the Scarecrow in a bit. And then the witch is going to show up and like, hey, Scarecrow, you want to play ball? And then, like, they're going to meet the Tin Man, or maybe they meet the Tin Man right before, because it's around the same scene. And then they meet the Lion, and then the Poppies, and then they go to the Emerald, like, all this shit. But when they see Dorothy skipping down the yellow brick road, the Scarecrow's not a scarecrow yet. He's not. It happens, like, a little bit after that. So I'm like, wait, so you're telling me in the time it took Dorothy to get the slippers and meet the Scarecrow, all of this other shit happened first? Because also, by my memory, Scarecrow was kind of there for a while. I was like, yeah, like I've was made to scare crows, and like, I don't do it very well. I use stupid birds, but blah, blah, blah. And I wish they had a brain. Like, but that really doesn't compute with this. And this is definitely the original 39 musical, although maybe some of this was incorporated into, like, the original book and stuff as well. But when the Wicked Witch of the East died, because she got a house dropped on her, which I love emphasizing because of just how wild that is. Like, when I was watching the 39 film last week, it's like, number one, there's not a Wizard of Oz fighting game, is there? Because that, I don't know, like, that could be, like, kind of fun, kind of unique, and, like, kind of weird, but in a cool way. I was like, what? Would that be Dorothy's super? I was like, this is her level 3 super. She just drops a house on you. Like, that's so funny. Like, oh my gosh, that'd be incredible. I don't know, her level 1 is maybe she just, like, kicks the shit out. It's like Chun-Li's super, where she just does all the kicks, but it's with the ruby slippers. And then, yeah, her other super, she drops a house on you. Anyways. But after the Wicked Witch of the East, gets housed, all the Munchkins show up. And they start singing in jubilation, ding dong, the witch is dead. We hated her so much we are going to have a long, elaborate song and dance celebrating her demise, and we are going to make sure that she is dead. And once we are 1000% sure that she has shuffled off the mortal coil, we are going to heavily thank and reward this stranger for dropping a house on her. Also, something I have to point out about the 39 film in that moment. When the Munchkins start, like, showing up, there's this one guy in, like, this purple suit who's just, like, walking across the frame and is, like, looking into the camera. And the vibe I had watching this was, like, dude just got the sickest fit of his life and wants everyone to see it. Like, man, I'm about to be on camera and everyone is gonna remember how fresh I look. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of a nice suit. I don't blame him for that. It reminded me of, like, the reverse of the kid from Charlie Brown. I want to say his name is, like, Shermie, but the kid who plays the shepherd, and he's like, every year I play a shepherd. Why do I have to do this? Like, he's cursed to be a shepherd forever because of the special. Well, this dude will forever have that moment. But I'm getting distracted. My point is, for the Wicked Witch of the East to have that kind of a celebration, she had to have been a wicked witch. What did you do? And I remember, like, I think I even said it to Clay, or, like, maybe he said it to me, but I remember, like, us talking about, it's like, granted, different versions, like, some different adaptations, but Nessa, what do you do to deserve this? She prevents the Munchkins from traveling unless she signs their travel documents. That's it. There's no mention of, like, how tyrannical she is, or how, oh no, like, as governor, like, these are the reforms she's made and they're bad. The closest that they talk about with her reforms is that, yeah, you know, all the other governors have signed things about, like, something about the animals, I don't super remember, but it's like, yeah, like, you know, no animals, or, like, blah, 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 and you're the only one who hasn't signed it, showing that, no, there's a good person here still, even though she maybe still has some issues. Like, no, like, she's trying her best, but then she does this, and there's a reason for that. I'll talk about it in a second. And I'm like, but so, okay, so that's the start of her being the Wicked Witch of the East. What's the other stuff she does? It's like, okay, so there's something else she does, but that's also to, like, one person? Why are all the rest of the Munchkins, like, that hateful to her? Not to defend anything she did, but really? This was worthy of a ding dong, the witch is dead. And again, an adaptation of a book that's an adaptation of a book that was itself adapted into the most famous story ever. So, like, there's differences, and I get that. But that's my problem. That is my primary problem. I cannot separate it, because that's the fucking point of Wicked. This is not, here is a story that happened in the world of Oz. This is the story of the Wicked Witch of the West. This is why she is this, gets you my pretty little dog too. Like, this is how that person came to be. And in part one, she is not that person. And like, okay, so we are getting the backstory, the motivation, and we're going to see this transformation, and some of these moments are going to line up, maybe some liberties, but, like, there's going to be some things that line up, and we see her at some point go full Wicked Witch of the West mode, and it is either the most satisfying thing you're going to see, or it's so tragic, because you know who she was and who she's trying to be, but the world didn't let her. And well, part of it is the world didn't let her, but also she didn't let herself conform to their standards and the things they were willing to turn a blind eye to. So that transformation should happen and should be... It's like watching Better Call Saul. We're watching Breaking Bad. You're like, man, I love this dude. He's a scumbag. He's like the slimiest lawyer. But man, what an entertaining character. And then you watch BCS and you meet Jimmy McGill. And you see, like, yeah, some of those slimeball tendencies are there. You're all slipping Jimmy. But you see the things he's done to try to be an upstanding lawyer, the things he tries to do to be a good person, to change, and knowing he's still going to become Saul Goodman. Like, when you finally, like, get to him going full Goodman, there's that little part that's like, okay, we're here, we made it, yay, fun. The other 99% is just, ow. Man, I knew it was gonna happen, but did it have to? That is the experience I wanted to have from Wicked, but we never get it. We never, like, see her go full crazy-ass Wicked Witch of the West. She almost kinda does when she has Dorothy, but it's, like, so quick in, like, a few lines, so, like, not even really, and, I am going a little all over the place. I didn't write down my notes. Just now I have a few pins in, because, like, talking about her performance is a big one. Just all the other stuff with Nessa is a big one. And I think those are most of what my big pins are. So I think I can more or less go into spoilers now. Oh yeah, there's this one thing at the end that didn't make sense to me, so I'll do that. So I'm trying to remind myself, I have 3 like big points I want to talk about that I've kind of talked about already. So overall, oh no, here is one thing I will say, because this is not spoilery, I don't think. My understanding is there are 2 new songs in the film. These were not in the musical, and apparently they were added less to pad the runtime and more just so there would be a similar number of songs that there were in the first film. So I was like, yeah, this one's a musical and we still want this one to still feel like it, so here's some more songs. Okay, totally fine with that in theory. So I knew what they were going in. I believe it's No Place Like Home and Girl in the Bubble. And knowing that was really interesting watching both of them. So No Place Like Home is an Elphaba solo where, I don't know, maybe like some of the animals sing, they interacted a little bit, but I think it was just a pure solo where the animals are leaving Oz and she's trying to convince them not to, like, no, like, you need to stay, you need to fight because this is your home and there is no place like home. And I roll my eyes a little bit at just the No Place Like Home. I'm like, I get it, like, it's the Wizard of Oz, sure. It's a little on the nose, but I don't super mind it. Like, I'm rolling my eyes, but it's more affectionate than, like, really. But I'm mostly rolling my eyes because I know this song was added. So this whole moment of her making this big, impassioned plea, I'm like, so this didn't originally happen. So what? Like, she's going to make this big speech and the animals are going to go, nah, and then just leave, kind of rendering this whole moment pointless. But then, like, as she's done singing and she's, like, pleading her case, then the lion shows up and she's like, don't trust her! Like, she kidnapped me when I was a cub! It was the only home I knew, and they just, like, threw me into the woods. I didn't know what was going on, and I was so scared. And, like, that's why I'm so scared all the time. Like, huh? You know, that actually kind of makes sense. You know, don't think I needed, and it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't think I needed that. Just the idea of like a big strong lion being terrified is fun. Giving him a reason for it though, I'm like, it takes away from the fun a little bit, but it's a fair explanation, so I'm not mad at it. But it is like, I made this big impassioned plea in this song, and then immediately just like, hey, don't listen to her, please. Okay. And like, that's basically it. It's like, yeah, that song was kind of entirely pointless. It wasn't bad. It was just pointless. Glinda has a new song called, it was like Girl in the Bubble, which is essentially this song about her realizing like the gilded cage she's in a sense. Like I'm in this bubble where I'm kind of turning a blind eye to a lot of things, but things are getting worse and worse, and I can't do this anymore. I have to make a choice, and I have to make a stand, and if I'm like the good witch and all of that, then I should make choices that are good. Excuse me. And that truly help the people, not just help the status quo. And what's funny about that is me kind of going, that wasn't in the original? Because that kind of makes a lot of sense. Also, I really love the way it's shot. Like, there's just a lot of moments of, like, you see her, but then it zooms out, and it's like, oh no, she's like looking in a mirror. Like, there's a lot of mirrors and like reflections and stuff like that. That's really neat. I like that. I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. Given the intensity of like what was just sung like 4 seconds beforehand, the transition's a little jarring and a little funny, but it still felt kind of right. I guess in the musical, it's the song she sings, I guess like after the wedding scene, that's kind of like her change, or it's that argument she has with Elphaba. I assume it's probably just the argument she has with Elphaba, she doesn't need the song. And Happy kind of has, I don't know if that's actually, if that's the name of the song, but like happiness is when all your dreams come true. It's very much a, I have everything I wanted, but it feels so hollow because of all these reasons. Like, Girl in a Bubble almost feels like, here's what's being implied in Happy, and just spelling it out. And maybe that's why it wasn't in there before, because all the pieces are already here. You don't need the song for it. But on the other hand, it's a musical. That's kind of the point, kind of what makes them fun. It's like, I want to hear someone sing about where they're at and what they're thinking, what they're feeling. So, but I did like it. I thought it worked. And again, it's like, one to me is really funny because, yeah, I can tell that this one was added. And the other one, I'm like, I would have thought this would have been here. So I don't know. But overall, without going into spoilers, I didn't much care for it because I just don't really like the second half of this story. And from what I've heard and what I understand, that is not an unpopular opinion. And I think, and again, like I was saying earlier, I can't separate it from the original. Because I was about to say, I was like, I don't know, like maybe if I'd never seen The Wizard of Oz and this was all it was, like I'd think it was fine, but you can't do that when you're doing a retelling, and this is how this person became this person. You can't separate it. That's kind of the point. To a degree, it almost relies upon you knowing the original story. It's like, you can't separate Maleficent from Disney's Sleeping Beauty, because it literally starts with like, you thought you knew the story of Sleeping Beauty, but let me tell you what actually happened. Here's this substantially, significantly worse version. Because, wow, I hate that movie. So there's that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoilers are live. Okay, so here's these 3 pins. Let me take out this first one because it's the easiest. So it's the end of the film where after Elphaba fakes her death, which like I had said earlier, like that was something I knew going in, which I guess I'll talk about that. I like the idea. And it's one of the few times where I think the knowledge of the original movie helps, Because her death scene in the original is so hammy. I'm melting. It's like, oh, what does she say? It's something like, oh, how could you, like such a good girl, destroy me? Oh, what a world. Like, she is selling it. And in the context of that original film, it's just like, yeah, you know, you killed the evil witch, and now that she's in her death throes, she's, you know, this, you know, pathetic creature, you know, like mourning her last seconds of life, and like, wow, what a pitiful being. In this context, it makes it come across as like, no, she is just hamming it up and trying to sell it, and everyone buys it. And that's awesome. Genuinely love that. But I'm also sitting there thinking, Glinda, why do you think she's dead? You're not that stupid. Because look, like, I get it. She's an airhead. That's the whole point of her character, is like, it's no thoughts, head empty. But the whole point of part 2, at least her part in part 2, is no, head not empty, thought in head. She's thinking for herself, and she's trying to make good, better decisions, and all of that. So, I think she'd know that, like, yeah, like, this is just a rumor that people brought it up, and we're latching on to it, but wait, she actually buys that? Because, like, I knew that Elphaba and Fiyero, who becomes the Scarecrow, like, fake her death and, like, hook up and all of that and leave. Which, also, doesn't the Scarecrow become the King of Oz? Because, you know, in the 39 film, he becomes the ruler with the other two. And then, like, watching Return to Oz, which I know is actually based on some of the later books, he's actively, explicitly the King of Oz. But then you got all the shit with the Gnome King, and the Gnome King is awesome. And I could go on a whole tangent about why I liked Return to Oz, but I'm going to try not to do that. My point is, number one, wait, how, if the whole thing is Elphaba going, no, she can't know that either of us are still alive. Well, I mean, she's supposed to know the Scarecrow's still alive. I thought he took over. But also, I don't know, I kind of figured she would know that. We're just like, yeah, like, I'm going to let you two go and live your lives because I like you two and I know you two are okay. I'll take care of things on my end. Why did you have to deceive her? Also, yeah, she was that stupid still that she thought that was real? Okay. But here's the actual thing I wanted to talk about. So Glinda takes the book, and she's like, I don't know how to read this. You're going to have to learn. Fair enough. And she goes back, and then so she tells the wizard, like, hey, so Elphaba died. This is a thing that she left. He reveals that the wizard was her father. It's like, you need to leave. Oz is done with you. And you see, like, his genuine shock and shame and despair at what he's done. And I really liked that. Really, I thought that worked. But then she goes to Michelle Yeoh, and I don't remember the name of the character. It's like Madam something. But she goes to her, who is like, oh, Glinda, can you ever forgive me? You know, like, I've been bad, I've been naughty, but, like, you know, like, we could still work together. And I'm just sitting there going, what? Time out. Aren't you the same person who, like, 20 minutes ago summoned a tornado to drop a house on someone? Precision accuracy, by the way. Like, you sniped her with a house. That's cool. That's really cool and really powerful. So, why are you trying to cater to Glinda? Because Glinda's, like, well-liked and... my best guess is she's like, well, the wizard has been my figurehead because I work best from the shadows. And if he's leaving, I need a new figurehead, and Glinda's about to be the figurehead. And if the figurehead is saying I'm a bad person, then there's a problem. Fair enough. Counterpoint, the figurehead has no power. That she has the book, but she doesn't know how to read it yet. Kind of been established. Michelle Yeoh can drop houses on people. So she has power. So if Glinda was like, hey, we're done. I'm gonna sick some monkeys on you to throw you in a cage, which is what happens. I would think that Michelle Yeoh could do something about it. Or even if she's thrown in a cage, like, okay, magic Kazam, and would like do something to get out of the cage, and then, I don't know, drop the Emerald City on Ariana Grande. But she's like, oh no, I've been defeated and captured because I don't have magic anymore. And maybe, to be fair, that is something that was kind of established in the first movie, and I just forgot, like, how her power works or why she needed something. Like, maybe. But it just didn't make sense to me at all. Like, this is okay. Sure, dog. Eeny, meeny, miny, you. No, I need to take this one out first because it kind of leads into that. So, let's talk about Nessa and Bach. Let's just talk about all of that shit because, wow, it was fucking awful. I was trying to say terrible and then awful, so it was awful. I guess I had to, like, almost scoff. Oh, boy. So, unspecified amount of time has passed since parts 1 and 2. Let's say 2 years, 3 years, maybe more, I don't know. And you got to Nessa and Bach, and she's like, a lot has happened. My father passed away. I am now in his spot as the governor, so I'm the one who rules Munchkin Land. My sister didn't even show up to the funeral. And I have felt so alone without my family. And I am stressed. I am exhausted. Because in addition to having to deal with my grief of losing my father, I had to deal with the fact that my sister is now the Wicked Witch of the West. On top of the fact that I am now in this position. Bach, thank you for being with me all this time. I don't know what I would have done without you. Like, your companionship and you being steady, you are what I needed, and I can't thank you enough. And Bach's reaction to this, because like I'm 100% with Nessa on all this. I was like, all right, like that's like I'm sorry you've been through all that. Like, that's awful. That sounds like a lot. I'm glad you've had someone with you. Bach, how do you respond? Like, she like reaches for his hand. He's like, I'm gonna take that away. Can I leave now? What? And like, that's actually his response. Like, I don't even think it was like, it's been a pleasure being with you. Like, I've loved being your friend. I'm happy I could be here for you. I'm sorry if this is a bad time to ask, but, would it be okay if I left? Would it be okay if I, because I do want to go see the world. Like, doesn't say it anything like that. Like, I think it was just kind of a, like, been meaning to say this for a while now. I kind of want to leave and, like, go do my own thing. And it's because, yeah, he's still into Glinda. To be as fair as I can to Bach. Number one, his feelings are valid. Nessa is not entitled to him, and he is genuinely under no obligation to return her feelings, even if they are close, even if she's in a very stressful situation, even if she is a person that is thinking, rightfully or no one else could ever love me but you, that does not mean he's obligated to do so. If he is into someone else because she left an impact on him, she took his heart, as I believe he says, that's, like, he can do so. That being said, you have spent and unspecified, but what seems like a good amount of time with Nessa by her side. And I don't know, Ariana Grande looked at you like one time. And that's it. Like, all this time with Nessa meant nothing to him. Because he doesn't even seem torn about it. It's not like I'm happy to be your friend and I appreciate this. Or like, maybe there is something here, but she took my heart first. It's just cool. Like, it seems like I've done my duty because I promised the girl I actually liked that I would look after you. So like, can I go now and talk to her? There's one word I have to describe him. And yes, it's a little on the nose, but I think it's perfect. Heartless. Like, that level of like callousness, that is heartless. So when Nessa responds by saying Munchkins, because he's a Munchkin, like, no, Munchkins can't travel unless I sign their documents. Like, so that's a red flag from you, because that's very spiteful and very possessive. It's like, I feel bad for every other Munchkin in the situation. I don't feel bad for Bach, but I'm not rooting for Nessa here either. It's almost like, okay, now I think you two do deserve each other, because those are both pretty bad, awful things. So Bach now like works for her as like her servant, and she's still trying to have this good relationship with him. Like, I told you to call me Nessa. Will that be all, Miss Throp? Like, I liked that. Like, him just kind of like giving it to her like that. I think that was good. I think that was deserved on her part. But then Elphaba shows up and is just kind of like, hey sis, so I need you for some stuff. I need you to help me because now that you're a governor, you have political influence. To which Nessa goes, hey bitch, you weren't there when Dad died or when I had to deal with all of this by myself, so, no. I don't think either of them are really in the wrong there. Like, Elphaba was saying, like, yeah, I wasn't there for Dad's funeral. He hated me. Totally in the right. Nessa feeling abandoned, I kind of understand that too. So I think most of that all works. Elphaba opens up the book, reads from it, casts a spell, enchants the slippers. Like I said earlier, they turned Ruby forbidden. It was really neat because Nessa wanted to have that feeling of like being loved, and it was wonderful, and she could fly, and then she starts flying for a little bit. I'm like, this is neat. I kind of like this. Then Bach walks in and he goes like, it's the Wicked Witch of the West. Like, what the hell is going on? It's cool. I'm just doing my sister a solid. Wait, so you're cool? Yeah, I'm cool. You're not in danger. No, I'm not in danger. And you're happy now. Yeah, I'm happy. Like, I'm flying, dude. This is great. Cool. So since you're not in danger and you're happy, can I leave now? Like, bro, why are you still trying this? Like, I get it, but you really think this is gonna work? And then he has the gall to like pull out the newspaper he saw about Glinda and Fiyero getting married. He's like, because I have to go tell the woman I love that I love her. Like, I know it's her wedding day and we've looked at each other like twice, but I have to go and make my appeal to her for her hand in marriage on the day when she's gonna marry someone else and leave you, the person that I've spent this unspecified but seemingly long amount of time with. I'm just gonna leave you behind. Heartless. Brainless too. No, he's got courage. Like, the noive of this guy. It's like, you got one of the three. Like, I'll give you that, but damn. To which Nessa responds by like, okay. Because I don't remember the exact phrase, but it's like, she has my heart. She's like, well, I want your heart. So then she goes, grabs the book. Elphaba just left it there and left it open and, like, isn't running to grab it. Like, I'm gonna start reading from the book, which, number one, I'm like, okay, and I'm very torn on this, because on the one hand, only Elphaba can read the book, like, no one else can, and they try to explain, it's like, well, you're the daughter of someone from Oz, but also of the wizard, so you come from both worlds, so we have magic. Sure, dog, like, okay, I'll buy it enough. But Nessa can read it, but Nessa's, like, explicitly not the daughter of the wizard, at least that was my understanding. So, no, that doesn't make sense, because no one can read it. But Elphaba does specifically note, you're not saying it right. So it might not be that she's reading it, and it might be, I heard my sister say something, this is kind of what I think it says, and I'm just going to go for it. And I will actually buy that. But she casts a spell, like, to have Box Heart, which starts, like, removing it. It's, like, shrinking and disappearing. So to save him, Elphaba casts a spell, which turns him into the Tin Man. So I was like, well, he doesn't have a heart, but he's not going to need one if he's made of tin. And Nessa... No, okay, so I think Elphaba leaves first. But I'm going to skip it slightly. But the two of them have a scene. Elphaba leaves, and then Nessa's like, now look at me. I'm the Wicked Witch of the East. And I was like, okay, sure. I mean, what you did wasn't good. Like, I'm not going to defend it at all, but sure. Okay, I guess this is what makes you the Wicked Witch of the East. You wanted them to have travel permits, and you got revenge on someone who broke your heart. The last one's maybe a little understandable. Went too far, but I don't know. But and then he, like, starts chopping down the door, which immediately just makes me think of The Shining, which is not something I expect to think of while watching The Wizard of Oz. So I start giggling, and then he walks out, and I'm like, this is what he looks like? I don't know, it looks kind of weird. So I'm kind of giggling, and he's like, what have you done to me? And I'm like, oh, what the fuck, man? I don't think I'm supposed to find this scene funny. But the combination of, like, Elphaba not grabbing the book, not, like, trying to stop her sister, and all, it just felt so off and, like, so weak. It was like something to behold. So let me hit this last pin. The, like, crowning moment in that scene, though, is Elphaba and Nessa, where I don't remember the exact line, but it's something to the effect of, like, nothing I've ever done has been enough for you, nothing ever will. Something to that effect. And it was delivered so flatly that it left no impact. Because I don't remember the name of her actress, but Elphaba's performance in both films is very subdued and reserved. And as someone who hasn't watched the stage musical, I don't know how much Idina Menzel's perform. Like, if it's in the first half, it's very subdued, and then the second half, like, she's cackling crazy. But here's the thing, I don't mind it, especially in part one. You know, this is someone who has been, like, ostracized and, like, her entire life, someone who doesn't feel like she's respected or listened to, but also thinks she's smarter than everyone else because she is. So the fact that she's like, yeah, I'm kind of going to keep to myself. I'm going to be more quiet and, like, watchful, but super judging. I'm like, no, I think that really works. And in this movie, it's not that she, like, doesn't emote, because she does, but there is still some of that, like, kind of keeping things close to the vest. And I think that works. Like, just some of those moments where she's like, she doesn't say anything, but just looks at somebody. Like, I think those work really well. But here, like, you can argue it's just someone like, I'm so done with you. And I think that's what they're going for. It's like, I'm so done with you that I don't even care anymore, because I've realized nothing I do for you is enough. Nothing will ever be enough. So why try? But for me, like, I was, like, as it was happening, I'm like, oh, like, I was expecting, like, frustration, anger, like, this resignation, like, something like that. But it was just, like, nonchalance. And I was like, man, that didn't work. And immediately after, the next two lines are, goodbye, Nessa. I'm off to see the wizard. I was trying so hard not to laugh. The Wicked Witch of the West saying, I'm off to see the wizard, will be funny to me no matter how it is delivered, no matter how it is written. Even if it is the most, like, intense moment and it is delivered perfectly, I will chuckle a little bit. But it might be like, okay, like, that's kind of funny, but damn, like, you killed it. This, like, again, like, I feel like most of her performance, I really like it. That moment for me really felt like someone was just, like, reading lines off a script. Like, it just, unfortunately, did not hit. And with how poignant that should have felt, it was kind of funny. And then with her saying, I'm off to see the wizard, I'm like, oh, no, now it is, like, funny. Oh, man. But then, like, then we get to, like, No Good Deed. Which also, by the way, right before that, when Fiero's like, go, like, I'll hold them off, like, I'll distract them and shit. I'm like, I don't know, why can't she just take you with her? Because when this happened 20 minutes ago in the Emerald City, you two left together. And I'm assuming that she just, like, you rode with her on her broom. Unless you two just walked, which I don't think so. Like, I don't think I remember them, like, stealing anything. And I don't know why she can't just carry you. Also, you know, there's a bunch of monkeys around, and they could probably, like, grab you. Like, it might take a couple monkeys to grab you, but they should be able to. I mean, here in the movie, they grab Dorothy, and yeah, Dorothy's a lot smaller than you. She's probably a lot lighter, but it's theoretically possible. Again, like, a couple monkeys grab you. Because in the other movie, they grab the Tin Man. I imagine he's a lot heavier than you are, so why do you have to stay behind? So is it just so you can get beaten up and she has to save you, which turns you into the Scarecrow because we have to have a Scarecrow? Because it doesn't really make sense in the context of the film as provided. But to my point, No Good Deed is a really cool scene. And if defying gravity is Elphaba saying, I don't want to be constrained by what other people think of me. I'm just gonna do what I believe in. No Good Deed is Elphaba becoming the Wicked Witch of the West. And that sounds cool, and it looks cool. But we don't get a lot after that of her, like, really seeing that new persona. Because this also happens after Dorothy's already in Oz. So it's not like, okay, this happens, like, halfway through the film. It's like, I'm in Wicked Witch mode. And for the rest of the film, you see her cackling. You see her going nuts. You see her, like, picking on this little girl. She's like, those are my sister's shoes. I don't care about their magical abilities. I want them because they're the only thing I have left of my family. I don't care what I have to do to you to get them back. I don't care about your little friends. I don't care about that lion that I tried to save who all of a sudden now blames me for trying to make him happy and then ruined what I was trying to do to save all the other animals. I don't care about this man made of tin who broke my sister's heart. I really don't care about this Scarecrow, who she either maybe knows is Fiero or I don't know. She would have no reason to be mean to Fiero, like, genuinely. The other two, though, I'm like, no, like, I can see it. Maybe not justified. The Baka kind of is. But I'm like, maybe not justified with the lion, but sure. But we don't see it. We don't really see that full transformation of this is how Elphaba, this intelligent, reserved, but genuinely seemingly kind woman, became the Wicked Witch of the West. So, the whole thing just feels like a letdown. Like there's all this good buildup and it doesn't pay off. On top of all of these other moments that, again, should kind of feel like some payoffs. Like, oh, okay, like we're going to see the Wicked Witch interact with Dorothy here. We're going to see this happen. And it just, like, doesn't. So, For Good is a really good song. And I think it's performed well. And like I said, Girl in the Bubble was neat. And I like how it looked in the mirror. And I really liked, again, like Happiness, whatever that song is called. Like, I really liked that. I don't know what to say about Wonderful because I loved it, but also hearing, number one, Jeff Goldblum can't sing. And look, I'm not going to pretend that I have a good voice, but I'm like, man, I don't know, dog. But hearing him go, like, take it from this Carney, something, something, Blarney. I'm like, that is not the actual fucking rhyme in this song. Oh, no wonder Avenue Q took the Tonys that year. Like, are you serious? Wow, like, there are parts of that song where I'm like, this is fun and infectious, and other points where I'm like, I hurt listening to this. I was really looking forward to Wickeder. But man, I'm about to say a sentence, and this is how I'm going to finish the video. This sounds really bad and sounds really mean, but I mean it. I had a better time watching Ice Cube's War of the Worlds than I did watching Wicked for Good. Wicked for Good is the better film. Like, it is a better made film. I will not dispute that with you at all. And there are things in the movie that do genuinely work. But I had a much better experience with Ice Cube's War of the Worlds. I hope you liked Wickeder if you've seen it. I really do. It's one of those things where I'm like, man, I hope I'm the outlier. I'll own it. I think that's it. Just, y'all have a good day.